right here has the ability with 30 caliber clip to disperse with 30 bullets within half a second. 30 magazine clip in half a second. Wow. We'll go to SB199, dealing with BB devices, airsoft guns. We have waived presentation on this measure. Those in support of this measure? Those in support of the measure? Those in opposition to the measure? Those in opposition to the measure, come on down. Welcome, Mr. Pedersen.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Tom Pedersen, representing California Rifle and Pistol Association. We're opposed to the measure, and the only physical matter I'd like to bring up is that there is a matter of preemption relative to the distribution and sale of BB devices, which are not treated as firearms or as toys. And in the event that this bill were to become law, there could be very extensive litigation on behalf of the state, which could be very costly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pedersen. Mr. Worley, welcome.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Ed Worley with the National Rifle Association. One of the things that cost is not outlined in the analysis is that, unfortunately, the provisions of the bill do not allow the transfer of old BB devices, Daisy Red Riders, Sheridan air rifles, and everything else. So what you're doing is you're creating millions of criminals. So if my grandfather gave my daughter his Daisy Red Rider, that would be a crime. So part of the thing you need to factor into this is not prospective moving forward. What you're doing is if you're saying if antique air rifles and BB devices are not colorized, it's illegal to transfer them. So what we're doing is you're criminalizing millions of people and millions of devices that no one has any idea have ever been prohibited from transfer. So if we're going to do a cost analysis of this and you find all this out, now all these people are going to get into the grinder. They're going to be sucked into the criminal justice system. Why? Because they gave their grandson, their granddaughter, or they donated to a Boy Scout troop or something, an air rifle. So that's one of the reasons why we oppose the bill. We understand the concern. We appreciate why the bill is trying to be proposed. But you can't sweep millions of devices in and millions of people into the criminal justice system and make it illegal for a product that's been around for over 100 years. If I loaned my Daisy Red Rider to my daughter's Girl Scout troop and had a signed note to the Girl Scout leader that she could use the device, it's still illegal. My daughter couldn't even get a Girl Scout merit badge for a BB gun because they borrow BB devices from parents and other groups. But you can't do that in the bill. So that and many other reasons, that's why we oppose the bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Worley. Next witness in opposition.
Yes, my name is David Powell. I'm actually a avid airsoft sportsman, and we consider it a sport. And pretty much what this bill does is it gets rid of the sport. Also, police and military, they use airsoft for training when they're here sometimes. I know the Antioch Police Department, they use airsoft to train. We've been told that by a place called Game Pod. And that's the biggest airsoft facility in the United States right now. And pretty much what this bill does is it's a job killer, and it creates a situation where if I have an airsoft gun, it criminalizes me. If my friends do, which almost every single one of my friends does, it criminalizes them if they were to exchange rifles, because it happens up, on the field. And me being a sportsman in airsoft, it brings great concern to me and my fellow constituents, and that's why we oppose this bill.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony. Last, we have two more. Mr. Paredes, good morning.
Mr. Chairman, member Sam Paredes, and we agree with the comments made by our colleagues and friends and are in opposition to this bill.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez.
W. Rodriguez from Save Our State again. We'd like to oppose this bill. We don't disagree with sensible gun laws, but for the past several years there's been so many sensible gun laws enacted that it's making the penal code nearly incomprehensible to the common person, which they are supposed to apply to.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Any other opposition? Seeing none. Finance, Jeff
Mr. Chair, no position on this, but we do note under 2011 public safety realignment with the passage of Proposition 30 in November 2012, counties receive constitutionally protected ongoing funding to supplement their baseline public safety resources. However, the additional crimes that could occur as a result of this bill did not exist at that time and therefore would impose new costs and workload on counties, which would create additional fiscal pressure on the local criminal justice system. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions or comments from members?
Can I ask a question of the author in terms?
Highway presentation.
Okay.
Can I ask the finance or anyone else?
Yeah, if I could just express concern about the unintended consequence of the legislation. Mr. Edwardly made some comments about passing on a BB gun from a parent to a child. I worry about how this is going to impact individuals in a real life situation, and just very concerned about whether it's really addressing the initial intent of the legislation.
Okay, thank you very much. And I hope you understand me not answering the questions because I waive presentation right there. Okay, so we're going to move on without objection, members. We're going to move this measure to the suspension.